from the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang in review, and here are the news. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday recognized the achievements of government communicators for their role in enhancing public awareness and citizen engagement in governance. Speaking at the inaugural Parangal Gawad ng Kahusayan sa Komunikasyong Pampubliko, the President emphasized that effective communication fosters trust between the government and the people. President Marcos said that while these awards honor their achievements, they also set the standards for leadership that promote public awareness and empower civic participation. The Parangal program, launched by the Presidential Communications Office or PCO, recognizes outstanding communication campaigns and strategies by government agencies and local government units. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Tonight we come together to recognize achievements and to confront a fundamental truth that communication is one of the foundations of leadership. It is the force that builds nations, that inspires movements, and turns ideas into reality. Every spoken word carries with it the power to unite or to divide, to heal or to harm, to lead or mislead. Alongside collaboration, integrity, and accountability, effective communication forges trust between the government and its citizens. Without it, leadership will falter, policies will be forgotten, and the people, our people, are left searching for direction. The campaigns, the messages, and the voices we celebrate this evening remind us what leadership is capable of when there is a connection with the people. While these awards recognize your achievements, they are also declarations of leadership standards that enhance public awareness and empower participation in governance. The Public Service Campaign Award recognizes local government units and agencies, departments, instrumentalities of the national government with the most effective campaigns that bridge the divide between what government plans are and what people in fact experience. They ensure that government efforts do not remain confined to policy briefs that are only spoken about in private offices, but moved into the neighborhoods, promoting positive behavioral change in our communities, in our people. The Government Innovation Award is a tribute to those who refuse to accept outdated systems and practices. These innovators remind us that leadership requires boldness, the willingness to break with tradition, to adapt to new realities, and build future-ready solutions. Meanwhile, the Information Integrity Award celebrates defiance in the face of what is a new phenomenon of misinformation. Falsehoods are corrosive and erode trust. They destabilize governance and divide societies. Nowadays, disinformation is not just a threat. It is a weapon that is used to distort facts, to sow fear, to weaken democracy. However, the awardees we honor tonight stood firm and proved that integrity is the unshakable foundation of public trust. Fake news, disinformation, and misinformation are active forces that proliferate division and ignorance. They thrive in the shadows of social media, spreading lies faster than facts, turning public discourse into a battleground of confusion, manipulation, and eventually chaos. In the face of this, silence is also complicity. Leadership, therefore, must stand firm, defending truth with vigilance, exposing lies with resolve, and ensuring that the public is armed with the clarity that they have in a sea of confusion. Then there is the digital frontier, the battleground of our age. The Outstanding Digital Campaign Award demonstrates that governance must adapt to the digital realm, and not only adapt, but must lead it. Because these campaigns transform screens into platforms of empowerment. They amplify voices. We engage communities, remind us that technology is not a threat to governments, but its greatest ally when wielded with proper purpose. Finally, the Outstanding Public Communicator Award celebrates those who have courageously led through words and deeds. Their words connect the government and the government, forging a bond that endures even in the most challenging of times. Every award tonight tells a story of transformation. These campaigns and voices are proof that communication is the force that makes governance real. To our awardees and participants, your work has transformed abstract ideas into meaningful, understandable action, making governance a shared experience rather than some distant ideal discussed in the high levels of government. To my fellow leaders, tonight is a call to action. Governance cannot rely on the weight solely of its authority. It must earn its place in the lives of the people that we serve. Leadership must be rooted in connection so that our vision will inspire, our action resonate, our legacy will last. To our partners in media, civil society, and the private sector, thank you for being the stewards of democracy and the champions of accountability. Your work does more than report. It shapes the national narrative, challenges complacency, and demands better from those holding public office. At sa sambayan ng Pilipino, kayo po ang pinakamahalagang puwersa na nagtutulak sa pagsulong ng ating bansa. Ang tiwalang ipinagkaloob ninyo at nagbigay ng inspirasyon sa amin upang maglingkod sa inyo ng may dangal at katapatan. Asahan po ninyo na patuloy kami sa paghahatid ng serbisyong epektibo, may integridad at may pananagutan. This is the challenge we must all embrace. Leaders that fail to connect will fail to endure. Policies mean nothing if they are not understood. True leadership builds trust not through words alone, but through the clarity and conviction that make these words matter. Today, we honor the recipients. Tomorrow, we will achieve the bagong Pilipinas we aspire for. This is our commitment. This is our resolve. This is our future. Congratulations to all the awardees and organizations and organizers. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Maligayang Pasko at mapayapang bagong taon sa inyong lahat.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday inaugurated the Philippine Department of Migrant Workers or DMW's Bagong Pilipinas One-Stop Overseas Filipino Worker or OFW Action Center, calling it a symbol of the government's commitment to providing fast and efficient services to OFWs. Located at the DMW Makati building along Malugay Street in the town of Bel Air, Makati City, the center centralizes and offers full-cycle support for OFWs and their families and will remove the complication of bureaucracy for migrant workers. The services cover every stage of the migrant workers' journey, from departure and overseas employment to return and reintegration into their communities. The center's major services include balik manggagawa processing, reintegration support, legal assistance, and other aid through the DMW Action Fund. It also houses services from other government agencies such as the Social Security System or SSS, Pag-ibig Fund, PhilHealth, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority or TESDA, and departments like Agriculture, Health, Labor, Trade, Tourism, Science and Technology, and Social Welfare. A notable feature of the center is Migrants Brew, a cafe providing free coffee and snacks to visiting OFWs and their families. In his speech, the president said this is a symbol of faster, smoother, and integrated service for OFWs. The chief executive added that the one-stop OFW Action Center aims to make the process easier from reintegration and legal assistance to counseling and other necessary services. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
May isang kwento tayong laging naririnig na hindi naluluma, hindi nawawalan ng halaga. Ito ang kwento ng ating mga manggagawang Pilipino sa iba't ibang bansa. Sila ang mga kababayan nating handang suungin ang lahat ng hamon. Basta para sa kanilang mga pangarap, para sa kanilang pamilya, mabuting oportunidad at maayos na kinabukasan para sa mga mahal sa buhay. Ngunit, saan man sila nakakarating, daladala nila ang init at diwa ng pagiging Pilipino, ang pagiging masipag, mapagmalasakit, at laging inuna ang kapakanan ng kanilang pamilya. Sila ang nagiging tulay sa pagitan ng kanilang bagong mundo at ng bansang iniwanan nila pansamantala. Sa kabila ng hirap, sakripisyo at pagkakalayo sa pamilya, hindi nila nakakalimutan ang kanilang pinagmulan. Kaya naman, mahalaga na kahit gaano man sila kalayo, maramdaman nila na may gobyernong handang salubungin sila sa kanilang pagbabalik. At ito ang dahilan kung bakit tayo nandito ngayon. Ngayong araw, masaya kong ipinapahayag ang pagbubukas ng itong bagong Pilipinas, Agarang, Kalinga at Saklolo para sa mga OFW na nangangailangang Action Center at ng bagong opisina ng Department of Migrant Workers dito sa Makati. Ang Action Center ay hindi lamang isang opisina. Isa itong simbolo ng mabilis, maayos, at pinagsama-samang serbisyo para sa ating mga OFW. Layunin nito gawing mas madali ang kanilang proseso mula sa reintegrasyon, legal na tulong, hanggang sa pagsasana at iba pang serbisyong kailangan nila. Kasama rin dito ang tinatawag na Migrants Brew, ang isang espasyong magbibigay ng libreng lugar para makapagpahinga ang ating mga kababayan habang ini-enjoy ang kape at mga pampalamig. Isa itong maliit lamang na makabuluhang hakbang sa nagsasabing salamat, salamat, salamat sa inyo. Ang bagong opisina ng DMW dito sa Makati ay special. Ito ang karugtong ng kanilang central office, nakaposisyon ng maayos upang mas mabilis na matugunan ang mga pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan sa Timog NCR. Hindi lang ito opisina, isa itong one-stop shop na naglalaman ng mahahalagang serbisyo para sa ating mga OFW. Ang gusaling ito ay magbibigay ng frontline services tulad ng pagproproseso ng dokumento ng mga balikbayan, OWA membership, renewal, iba pang mga serbisyo na hinahanap sa ating DMW. Bukod dito, makikipagtulungan din ang Action Center sa iba't ibang ahensya tulad ng PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, SSS upang masiguro mabilis at walang aberya ang pagkuha ng mga dokumento at benepisyo sa ating mga kababayan. Sa madaling salita, aalisin nito ang komplikasyon ng burokrasya at gagawing maayos ang sistema para sa ating mga manggagawa. Sa ating mga OFW na nagbabalik bansa, Sa halip na maabala pa kayo sa mahabang pila at magulong proseso, bubungad na sa inyo ang maayos at mabilis na sistema upang makuha ninyo ang serbisyo, benepisyo at programa ng ating pamahalaan. Gayon din, para sa isang kababayan nating magsisimula ng paglalakbay bilang OFW, matutulungan kayo dito sa bawat hakbang sa inyong pag-apply. Simula sa kontrata, legal na proteksyon, hanggang sa pagsasanay. Tinitiyak natin sa bawat sulok ng mundo, may gobyernong handang tumulong sa inyo. Hindi po sa gusaling ito nagtatapos ang aming misyon sa napaglingkuran ang ating mga OFW. Kasabay rin ng pagsulong ng makabagong teknolohiya, inilunsad natin ang tinatawag na eGovPH app. Ito po ay inilunsad ng gobyerno para mas mapadali, mapabilis at mapalapit ang serbisyo namin sa inyo gamit lamang ang inyong mga smartphone. Gamit ito, maaari na po kayong makakuha ng birth certificate, driver's license. Pwede na rin kayong magbayad ng buwis o kaya man ay makakuha ng impormasyon ukol sa status ng loan ng mga GSIS o ng SSS. Mas mabilis din ang pagdeklara sa e-travel pass ng inyong biyahe palabas o pabalik ng Pilipinas gamit ang eGovPH app. Ang mga hakbang na ito ay hindi lamang pagbuo ng mga gusali o simpleng paggawa ng mobile application. Ito rin ay may mga simbolo ng ating larangin na magkaroon na ng bagong Pilipinas. Sa ilalim ng ating pamahalaan, tinitiyak natin na ang bawat Pilipino, lalo na ang ating mga manggagawa sa iba't ibang bansa, ay makaramdam ng malasakit at mabilis na serbisyo mula sa ating pamahalaan. Para sa bawat Pilipino. Isang bansang hindi kailangan lisanin pa para makahanap ng disenteng trabaho. At para sa mga pumipiling magtrabaho sa ibang bansa, sigurado sila buo ang suporta ng pamahalaan. Habang patuloy na tinatahak ng ating mga manggagawa ang mas malalayong pampang gusto nating masiguro, ang kanilang uuwiang bansa ay mas maulad, mas maganda at mas maayos. Naway ang sentrong ito ay magsilbing paalala na ganun man kalayo ang kanilang narating o kataas ng kanilang naabot, ang kanilang bayan ay laging naririto upang salubungin sila. Sa ating masisipag at matatapang na OFW, tandaan ninyo, nandito ang inyong gobyerno para sa inyo. Patuloy tayo magtutulungan upang buuin ang isang bagong Pilipinas. Sama-sama nating itaguyod ang kinagbukasan, puno ng pag-asa, pag-unlad at pagkakaisa. Ito po, kahit na, quick translation for our guest. This is really our effort. This is one of many centers that we have established all around the country that are attached to the OWA, or the Office of Overseas Workers for the Philippines. And it is really just to facilitate all of the processes that they have to undergo when from the very beginning, from the start to from the start of their applications, to make sure that the documentation is in place, that all the needed clearances, permits, etc., they are assisted in acquiring those, and to make life easier for this. There have been many cases where Filipinos go abroad, and because of their lack of knowledge or the incompleteness of the process that they have undergone, they run into trouble, and we want to avoid that. One of the real reasons why we started this was because of it was actually the idea of the former DMW Secretary Toots Ople, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But it was her idea, and she said we have to simplify the work, or rather, we have to simplify the process with which we assist our OFWs. Not only in terms of the processes that they have to go through, but more so also, and it became a critical point when we had, it really started with the Arab Spring, when we had to bring many people home. And many of them were very preoccupied, very worried that they would no longer have jobs. And many of them, I remember we were talking to some of our workers in Libya, and over the phone we could hear shooting. And they said, "Is there shooting going on?" And they said, "Yes." And they said, "Actually, we're on the floor talking to you, and there's fighting around us." And here's the thing. And they said, "Do you want to come home?" No. And the reason they didn't want to come home is that they were worried that they would no longer have jobs when they returned. If they came back to the Philippines, that they would have no jobs to return to. And that immediately triggered our thinking. And we said, well, then we must, because just for their safety, that we have to provide them the opportunities. And so that's why the one-stop shop includes retraining, reskilling, upskilling, and to find job placements wherever, not solely in the Philippines, but also abroad. And that's what gave birth to this whole system that we have put together today. And although our ceremonies here, such as they are really rather simple, and the facilities that you see are very straightforward and rather simple, quite pleasant, but nothing overly elaborate. It belies the importance of what we are doing here. Parang if we look at this, we put up a rest area. We have some offices, but the effect of this is going to be very significant in terms of the support that we provide our OFWs. So I'm very happy that we are able to now, especially now that it's Christmas time, simply because at Christmas we all know that as many of our OFWs that can come home do come home. And so we are ready for them when they do come home for whatever their needs might be, so that they may continue in their work or to change and come back home and find work here. So I'm extremely happy that we are here today to have this, to open these facilities. I thank all of you who have played a part in this, and I am very certain that what we have started here today, or what we have opened here today, will be of great benefit to our OFWs, our heroes of the modern age.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos hosted a Christmas gathering in honor of the families of overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, dubbed Pamaskong Handog para sa OFW family at the Heroes Hall in Malacañang Palace. During the program, the President presented certificates of recognition to several OFWs and led the ceremonial turnover of housing units under the Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino, or 4PH program. In collaboration with the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, and the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, or OWA, this festive event celebrates the dedication and sacrifices of OFWs, recognized as the nation's modern-day heroes. In his speech, the chief executive said a gathering is just one way of showing the government's heartfelt appreciation to all OFWs and their families. President Marcos commended OFWs for Their hard work and perseverance as this led to Filipinos being highly reputable and respectable around the globe. The president also thanked OFWs for giving back to the country by sending remittances back to their loved ones, which in turn helped the Philippine economy. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Salamat po sa inyong pagpunta rito upang sama-sama natin ipagdiwang ang Kapaskuhan. Taon-taon ay inaabangan ng aking pamilya ang panahon na ito dahil naging tradisyon na po namin na buksan ang pinto ng Malacañang sa publiko at maghandog ng simpleng selebrasyon. Bilang nagkakaisang pamilyang Pilipino, ikinalulugod ko pong salubungin kayo, mga minamahal naming OFW, kasama ang inyong pamilya dito sa Malacañang, ang tahanan ng sambayanang Pilipino. Ito pong pagtitipon natin ngayon ay isa sa mga paraan na pagpapaabot ng aming taus-pusong pasasalamat at pagsasaludo sa inyo. Ano man ang inyong mga naging karanasan at pinagdaanan sa labas ng bansa, masaya naman ako na nakauwi kayo lahat na ligtas at kasama nyo muli ang inyong mga mahal sa buhay, lalo na kapag Pasko. Ang mga pamilyang kasama natin ngayon, kabilang ang mga na-repatriate mula sa Israel, sa Lebanon, ay talagang nagbibigay inspirasyon sa ating lahat. Ang inyong tapang at katatagan ay nagsisilbing ilaw ng pag-asa para sa maraming Pilipino. Ang dedikasyon nyo para sa inyong mga pamilya at sa ating bayan ay tunay na binibigyan talaga natin ng halaga. Batid namin na iba't ibang uri ng sakripisyo ang pinagraanan ng ating mga OFW. Una na, ang mamulay sa inyong mga pamilya. Samahan pa ng kalungkutan, dala ng pagka-homesick at pag-adjust sa kultura at klima ng ibang bansa. Ang kapalit naman at bunga ng inyong mga sakripisyo ay isang maganda, komportable at maayos na pamumuhay para sa inyong mga pamilya, pag-asenso ng inyong mga komunidad at kaunlaran ng ating buong bansa. At maganda na nakapag-perform yung ating mga anak ng OFW. At maalala nga natin, lagi natin, siyempre kinikilala lagi natin ang sakripisyo at ang tapang ng ating mga OFW. Huwag natin sana naman makalimutan, yung mga naiwang pamilya dito sa Pilipinas ay nagsasakripisyo rin. Dahil namimiss kayo at saka isipin nyo, pagka yung mga kabataan, napakahirap naman nagtsatsaga ng walang signal. Parang nakita ko yung mga anak ko. Sabi ko, Dad, walang internet. Anong gagawin natin? Walang internet. Hindi naman nakakapagtaka. Dahil yan lang ang pamamaraan para makausap kayo, para makipagkwentuhan, makapag-zoom ng konti, at makapagbate pagka hindi kayo nakakauwi. Dagdag pa riyan, dahil sa inyong mga OFW, mas umangat ang pagkakilala ng galing, sipag, at kabaitan ng mga manggagawang Pilipino sa buong mundo. Sa katunayan, maya-maya lamang ay mayroon tayong mga kilalanin na pararangal para sa mga OFW dahil sa ipinakita nilang kahusayan at karapat-dapat na hangaan at tularan. Alam niyo po, pagka ako'y bumabiyahe at nakakausap ko yung mga presidente, yung mga prime minister, yung mga namumuno sa mga iba't ibang bansa, lalong-lalo na kung saan marami ang Pilipino. Bago pa ako makapagyabang, nasasabihin ang galing ng Pilipino, nauunahan ako. Sila ang nagsasabi sa akin, ang galing ng Pilipino. Kaya't napakaganda. Kung minsan, silang nagkikwento, sabi, na maganda yung example, yung sa video, UAE. Yung sa UAE, galing lang kasi ako dun eh. At nakakilala ko ang presidente ng UAE, si Sheikh Al Nahyan, at saka ang
kanilang Prime Minister sa ano naman, sa Dubai, si Sheikh Al Maktoum. Ganun ang sabi sa akin. Sabi nila, laging ganyan, sabi nila kung wala ang Pilipino, hindi naging ganito kasikat ang UAE. At laging ganyan. Sa Saudi Arabia, ganun din ang sinasabi sa akin. Sa London, ganun din ang sinasabi sa akin. Sa England, sa Italy. Kahit saan ako pumunta, ganyan ang sinasabi. At ang kasunod, pagka sinasabi, ang galing ng Pilipino, hangang-hanga kami sa mga Pilipino, gustong-gusto namin. Ito na yung kasunod, meron pa ba? Sinasabi, inuubos nyo lahat ng mga manggagawa namin. Pero ganun kasikat, ganun kaganda ang reputasyon ng Pilipinas. Ganun kaganda ang reputasyon ng Pilipino. Dahil sa inyo, dahil sa inyong galing, dahil yung pagsisikap, dahil iba ang Pilipino, dahil hindi lamang yung trabaho ang ginagawa. Kung hindi talagang may malasakit. Kung meron kayong alaga, iba ang malasakit na pinapakita ng Pilipino. Tapos ang sipag ng Pilipino, ang galing ng Pilipino, ang daling turuan. Ang daling turuan. At yung ating mga OFW, laging handa kahit na wala na, hindi nakasama sa trabaho, ginagawa pa rin. Nagbo-volunteer na kung ano-ano. Tapos, sabay, hindi lang sa trabaho magbo-volunteer pa para tulungan yung kapwa Pilipino. Kaya napakaganda ang naging reputasyon natin. At hindi ko na kailangan ipagmalaki ang Pilipinas. Ang mundo ang nagmamalaki sa Pilipino sa akin. Kayo ang naging katunayan na kayang-kaya makipagsabayan ng mga Pilipino sa talento, sa talino, sa husay ng mga pinakamagagaling sa buong mundo. Higit pa riyan, ang tulong na inyong ibinabalik sa ating bansa sa pamamagitan ng pagpapadala ng mga remittance ay talaga naman ay hindi mapapantayan. Kaya naman, narito kami upang isulong ang inyong mga karapatan at upang tugunan ang inyong mga pangangailangan. Narito ang ating Department of Migrant Workers, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, OWA, kasama ang iba't ibang sangay ng pamahalaan. Gayon din ang ating mga konsulada at embahada sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo upang siguruhin ang kapakanan ng ating mga OFW, kasama na ang kanilang mga pamilya. Andito yata ang ating mga labor attaché. I think some of them are marami sa... Ayan, ito yung mga labor attaché. Ito yung mga... Ito yung mga tumutulong sa atin at tinitiyak na kung ano yung mga pangangailangan ninyo. Maraming salamat sa serbisyo ninyo. May mga programa ang pamahalaan para sa inyo gaya ng mga livelihood program para sa mga balik OFW at paggawad ng scholarship para sa pag-aaral ng inyong mga anak. Noong nakarang linggo ay pinasayanan natin ang groundbreaking ng OFW Hospital, Bagong Pilipinas Cancer Care Center. Ito yung sa Pampanga. Ang layunin nitong ospital na ito ay magbigay ng libreng serbisyong medikal gaya ng chemotherapy, radiotherapy sa mga OFW natin may iniindangan na matitinding sakit. Patunay ito sa masinsinang pagtugon ng pamahalaan para sa inyong mga pangangailangan at kaginhawaan. At para naman sa mas komportableng paglalakbay ng mas maraming OFW, nagbukas na rin tayo ng OFW Lounge sa NAIA Terminal 3 na pwede niyong gamitin habang nag-aantay ng inyong mga flight na paalis. Makakaasa kayo na dadagdagan pa ng ating mga OFW sa ilang pang mga international na paliparan dito sa bansa. Upang masiguro na protektado at ligtas na naninirahan ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino sa ibayong dagat, mas pinapaigtin din namin ang kooperasyon at pagkakaroon ng mabuting relasyon sa iba't ibang mga bansa. Bago ako matapos, alalahanin din natin ang ating mga kababayan sa ibang bansa na ngayon ay nagpapasko malayo sa kanilang mga pamilya. Isama natin ang kanilang kaligtasan, ang kapakanan ng bawat Pilipino at ang kapayapaan sa buong mundo sa ating araw-araw na dalangin. Sama-sama tayo tutungo sa isang mas maliwanag, mas masagana at progresibong bagong Pilipinas. Muli, maraming salamat sa lahat ng inyong ginagawa. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng ibinibigay ninyo sa Pilipinas, ang inyong ginagawa upang pagandahin ang pangalan ng Pilipinas, upang patibayin ang ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. At lahat kami naman ay gagawin namin, ay susuklian naman namin ang inyong sakripisyo ng kahit papano lahat ng aming maaring gawin para maging mas ligtas kayo, maging mas maginhawa kayo. At hindi lamang ang mga OFW, kundi pati na ang inyong mga pamilya. Yan po, lahat yan ay gagawin namin para sa inyo.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday witnessed the contract signing for 5 key transport projects of the Department of Transportation, or DOTR, in a ceremony at the Malacañang Palace in Manila. The signed contracts during the ceremony include the construction of the new Cebu International Container Port, or NCICP, the expression of interest for the Cebu Bus Rapid Transit or BRT project, a public-private partnership for the modernization of Bohol Panglao International Airport, and the agreement for new Dumaguete and new Siargao regional airports. In his speech, the president said these projects are not just structures, they represent the dream of every Filipino to have a more comfortable travel, better opportunities, and a clearer path towards their goals and dreams. Funded by the Export-Import Bank of Korea, or KEXIM, the 16.9 billion pesos NCICP in Consolacion, Cebu aims to decongest the existing Cebu-based port while improving cargo handling capacity and reducing logistics costs. A 1,365-meter access road will be built to connect the new port through a 300-meter offshore bridge. The target completion is November 2027. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
We Filipinos have a saying, nothing is impossible for those of us who dream. But the journey to these dreams do not begin with just a single step. They often start with a queue at the terminal, on the streets, or at the all-familiar kiosks and booths in establishments of government offices. So despite this, one thing sets us Filipinos apart. We do not take no for an answer. Instead, we find ways, we become resourceful, we make the impossible possible. We figure out how to keep a positive outlook despite difficult situations. We find a way to turn a problem into an opportunity. That is our spirit, positive, in spite of odds, resilient, despite of what has been lost, and hopeful in the face of adversity. However, there comes a time when we must move beyond this will do, or in the local language, pwede na yan. For us to move forward, we must commit and affirm that we can do better. We are, after all, Filipinos. We can do better. This is the new mindset in this age of a bagong Pilipinas. And that is why this morning I wish to share how we are going to make these things happen, how we can change things for the better and ensure that progress reaches every corner of our country. Let's begin with Cebu. Commerce and trade are growing tremendously, which leads to port congestion. That is an opportunity. So we will build the new Cebu International Container Port, a 17 billion peso modern port facility that will help ease congestion in the existing Cebu-based port. Once completed, This will not only make goods more affordable, but will also generate thousands of jobs for our people. Apart from this, it will also create more opportunities for everyone as it will provide increased space for port activities. Traffic in Cebu, just like in many metropolises, is a problem, but also an opportunity to find unique solutions, one of which is the Cebu Bus Rapid Transport Project, which will provide Cebuanos with a reliable, efficient transport system. Costing over 28 billion pesos, this modern bus network will connect key parts of Cebu City, making daily commuters easier in their commute and more comfortable. In Bohol, the number of tourists visiting is increasing annually. And if you have been to the island, you have probably seen its rich culture, breathtaking beauty, and the friendly warmth of the people. Since 2018, the Bohol Panglao International Airport has served as a gateway to the province's treasures and a driver of economic growth. That's well and good, but airports must continue to grow alongside the communities that they serve. This is where the 4.5 billion peso BPIA Public-Private Partnership Project will come in. We will expand the project in 2 phases. By 2026, its capacity will increase from 2 million to 2.5 million passengers a year. By 2030, we will reach almost 4 million passengers. This means we can provide seamless travel to a lot of tourists, which translates to more jobs for Boholanos, especially in the hotel and restaurant industries. This project is expected to generate 15 million pesos in annual revenue during its first 5 years, rising to 200 million a year by the end of the concession period. But more than just the revenue, its true success will be the number of lives that it will change for the better in Bohol. It is a promise to our beloved people that they will be the first to benefit from the continued arrival of tourists and of investors. From Bohol, we now move to Dumaguete and Siargao, 2 places that have their own unique beauty and have gained their own identity. Dumaguete, rich in history and culture, has long been a center for education and commerce. Siargao now has captured the world's attention as a top destination for surfers and nature lovers. But both places face the same challenge: limited connectivity. So we shall not settle for small fixes. And that is why we are building the new airports in Dumaguete and Siargao. These projects will completely change the way people travel to and from these areas. The new Dumaguete Airport will create more opportunities for students, for workers, and businesses, while the new Siargao Airport will help support tourism and trade. With the support of the International Finance Corporation, we will ensure that these airports meet global standards. But beyond the technical aspects, what is important is a positive change that they will bring. These projects shall allow our farmers to efficiently bring produce to new markets, tourists to discover more of the charms of these islands, and entrepreneurs to expand their businesses. As we close, let us remember, these projects are not just structures. They are representative of every Filipino's dream of more comfortable travel, better opportunities, and a clearer path towards their goals and dreams. My fellow Filipinos, the future will not simply come to us. We must be the ones to build it. And this is how we will move forward. So let us together build a better Philippines we can proudly bequeath to our children.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday thanked the Indonesian government for facilitating the return of Mary Jane Veloso to the Philippines. Veloso arrived in the country Wednesday morning. In a statement, the president took the opportunity to extend his gratitude to the Indonesian government and to all who have extended assistance for the welfare of Ms. Mary Jane Veloso. The chief executive said the agencies in the justice and law enforcement sector would continue to ensure Veloso's safety, considering that The Indonesian counterparts have safeguarded it for so long. President Marcos made the assurance as he stressed that Veloso's welfare is paramount. Veloso was turned over to the custody of Philippine officials on Tuesday evening. She was accompanied by officials of the Department of Foreign Affairs or DFA, National Bureau of Investigation or NBI, Bureau of Immigration or BI, and Bureau of Corrections or Bucor. According to the Bucor, Veloso arrived at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport NAIA Terminal 3 in Pasay City at about 5:51 in the morning of Wednesday on board Cebu Pacific Flight 5J760. Upon arrival at the airport, Veloso was immediately brought to the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong City, where she will be mandatorily housed at the Reception and Diagnostic Center for a 5-day quarantine and a 55-day orientation, diagnostic evaluation, and initial security classification. Veloso was jailed in 2010 and was sentenced to death in the same year after 2.6 kilogram of heroin was found in her suitcase. She was given a last-minute reprieve in April 2015 when Manila informed Jakarta that her recruiters had surrendered.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine Presidential Communications Office or PCO Acting Secretary Cesar Chavez said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will be holding a series of meetings with concerned cabinet officials as part of the extensive review of the proposed 6.352 trillion pesos 2025 national budget. This after the President on Wednesday afternoon met with Executive Secretary Bersamin, Finance Secretary Ralph Recto, Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, and Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan to review the proposed budget plan for next year. In a photo release, the PCO said President Marcos and some of the cabinet members reviewed the 2025 spending plan to ensure alignment with key development priorities. Earlier Wednesday, Bersamin said the scheduled signing of the 2025 General Appropriations Bill or GAB on December 20th has been pushed back to give President Marcos more time for a rigorous and exhaustive review of the measure. Bersamin said there is no final date yet for the signing of the 2025 GAB.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday led a change of command and retirement ceremony in honor of the Philippine Air Force or PAF Commanding General Lieutenant General Stephen Pareño at Villamor Air Base in Pasay City. Lieutenant General Pareño, the 39th Chief of the PAF, has held several key positions within the Air Force, including Vice Commander, Chief of Air Staff, and Chief of the PAF Inspector General, among others. One of his notable accomplishments was his direct involvement in the air mobility efforts of the PAF during the Marawi siege, where he served as a flight commander of C-130 flights transporting logistics from Guam and Arizona to the Philippines for joint operations. A distinguished member of the Philippine Military Academy or PMA Sambisig class of 1991, he graduated as class salutatorian. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Today, we stand together to honor a leader who has served our nation with unparalleled distinction. Lieutenant General Stephen Pareño, as Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force, has led this institution to soar to new heights over the past 2 years. His steadfast commitment to the command has thrust accelerate PAF with excellence has inspired every airman to embrace the ideals of competence, professionalism, and responsiveness, the values that have guided your every endeavor. The legacy of your leadership is etched in the achievements of the Philippine Air Force under your watch. By logging over 2,500 flying hours dedicated to external defense and conducting 450 maritime patrol missions, you have strengthened our nation's territorial integrity and protected our exclusive economic zone. These are not just records.
They represent vigilance, determination, and an unwavering resolve to safeguard our airspace. In these efforts, our skilled pilots have remained resolute, intercepting threats, monitoring unidentified tracks that encroach upon our airspace. Your courage is matched by their expertise, owned through bilateral, multilateral exercises like Cook Thunder, Balikatan, as well as the deployment of strategic assets to the Pitch Black exercise in Australia. These initiatives have enhanced our interoperability with foreign partners and reinforced the credibility of our Air Force on the international stage. In addressing multifaceted threats, your leadership has been instrumental. The Air Force carried out nearly 120 intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions, efforts that directly supported our law enforcement operations. Moreover, 320 trafficked individuals were rescued from exploitation, millions of pesos worth of illegal goods were confiscated, and it demonstrated a relentless pursuit of justice and of security. The Air Force has also been a stalwart partner of this administration in times of crisis, embodying the highest ideals of the service. Through over 324 humanitarian assistance and disaster response missions, our airmen transported 1.4 million pounds of essential supplies, conducting as well 200 aeromedical operations, saving many, many lives. Complementing these efforts, you have also spearheaded over 8,400 civil military operations, advancing in environmental sustainability and public health, reaffirming its role as a vital pillar of national development. Your tenure, Lieutenant General Pareño, likewise marks significant strides in capability enhancement for our Air Force. The acquisition of one C-295 medium-lift aircraft, two T-129 attack helicopters, one mobile radar, one fixed radar, and 10 S-70I Black Hawk helicopters, among other critical equipment, has increased our readiness to confront evolving challenges. These accomplishments are a testament to your vision, diligence, and unyielding commitment to the mission at hand. After 37 years of dedicated service to our nation, you pass on a legacy that embodies excellence and inspires the next generation of leaders to build upon the foundations that you have laid. As we bid farewell to Lieutenant General Pareño's distinguished tenure, we now warmly congratulate the newly appointed Commanding General of the Philippine Air Force, Lieutenant General Arthur Cordura. The road ahead is not without its challenges, but I am confident that you will rise to meet those challenges. With your steadfast leadership, you can guide the Air Force towards becoming an institution that is more agile, credible, and responsive to the demands of an ever-evolving security landscape. To the men and women of the Philippine Air Force, your service is a source of immense pride for our country. Under this new leadership, you may continue to reach even greater heights, embodying the principles of honor, duty, excellence. These times call for vigilance and for resolve. There is no room for complacency, for any pause in our efforts to risk compromising the safety and welfare of the Filipino people. We must ensure that the continued modernization of our armed forces remains a priority, empowering us to protect the ideals that define our nation. Let us move forward as one, shaping a bagong Pilipinas where the Philippine Air Force remains a beacon of strength, a protector of the values that we hold dear, and the symbol of hope for our people.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Finally, for Dateline Malacañang in review, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday said the request to grant executive clemency to Mary Jane Veloso lies in the hands of legal experts. Speaking to reporters on the sidelines of an event at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay City, the president said it would take a long time to determine whether the grant of clemency to Veloso is appropriate. President Marcos stressed that while the Indonesian government did not make any condition following Veloso's return to the Philippines, he said reviewing her case is still at the very preliminary stage.
Malayo pa tayo doon. We still have to have a look at really what her status is. And then, of course, we're aware of the request for clemency from her representative, of course, and from her family. And we will leave it to the legal judgment of our legal experts to determine whether the provision of clemency is appropriate.
Speaking to members of the media upon her return to the country, Veloso hoped President Marcos would grant her executive clemency. Upon arrival at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport in Pasay City on Wednesday morning, Veloso was immediately brought to the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong City, where she will be mandatorily housed at the Reception and Diagnostic Center for a 5-day quarantine and a 55-day orientation, diagnostic evaluation, and initial security classification.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that is all for today's Dateline Malacañang in review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Bea Gaza-de Guzman.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.